You want me to do what? You heard me. And you know deep down that you want to do it. Stop pretending to be so shocked and innocent. Besides, I've caught you borrowing my clothes when I'm not around for quite some time now. I think that gives me the right to see how you look wearing them, don't you agree? No one will believe it. I'll look ridiculous, and I'll never hear the end of it, I said, after struggling to come up with a solid argument. But I knew she had me cornered and wasn't going to let it go this time. That night, my mom convinced me to wear one of her old outfits from her cocktail waitress days. She'd been insistent about it all morning. So, there I was, dressed in shiny black heels, fishnet stockings, a short black skirt, and a crisp white ruffled blouse. She'd pushed me to go all out. Most of the day had been spent following her instructions, getting rid of body hair, having my nails manicured and painted red, and styling my hair into soft curls that framed my face. She had done the same with her own look, going all in on the details. When I finally looked at myself in the hallway mirror, I couldn't recognize the person staring back. Gone was the awkward 16-year-old I had been when I woke up that morning. Instead, there was a young woman standing in front of me, looking back from the mirror. Her shoulder-length hair was a shade of brown, a bit darker than mine, with hints of auburn in the light. Her neat bangs hovered above delicate, slightly curved eyebrows. My blue eyes widened as I noticed how the long lashes framed them, enhanced by the eyeliner my mom had carefully applied to make them seem even larger than before. I continued to examine my reflection, noticing how my cheekbones were subtly highlighted by blush and the deep crimson of my lips. The blouse was unbuttoned at the top, revealing a black velvet choker with a small cameo hanging from it. Each of my ears had a pearl earring from freshly pierced lobes. The blouse, tucked into the flared skirt, gave me a shape I hadn't recognized before. The stockings and heels made my legs look much more attractive than I had expected. Just then, my mom broke the silence. Well, for someone who was so against this idea, you seem to be enjoying it a bit now, don't you? Startled, I replied, oh. I'm just a little surprised at how I, look. Look great? I knew you would. I've always known. This might be your first time in front of others, but I bet it won't be the last time we see. She paused, thinking. We need a name for you, don't we? I have a name. It's Ree. Nope. Tonight, you're Sophia. Yep, that's it, Sophia. It's the name you would have had if you were born a girl, so you get to use it tonight. I had to admit, I kind of liked it. I looked at my reflection again, silently greeting this new version of myself. All right, enough of this, my mom said. Let's head to the party. I nodded and started walking down the hall, listening to the click of my heels on the hardwood floor, remembering to take short steps and keep my legs close together. From behind me, I heard my mom stifle a giggle. What? I asked. Just enjoying the show, she replied. At the front door, my mom handed me a long overcoat, black and white with a houndstooth pattern, and a small black handbag. There's a pair of gloves in the right pocket of the coat and some lipstick and other things in the purse, in case we need to freshen you up later, she explained. I slipped my hand into the pocket, pulling out a pair of soft black leather gloves and putting them on. Unlike my usual winter gloves, these were cut to make my hands and fingers look sleek and delicate. And with that, we were off to the neighbor's house. The neighbors had moved in recently. They were a single mother and child, just like us. My mom and their mother, Liz, had gotten along instantly. My shyness had kept me from meeting their daughter, Chloe, who was about my age. We climbed the front steps of their house, and my mom knocked on the door. A moment later, the door opened, and a girl appeared who could have been my twin. She scanned me for a moment, then turned to my mom. Good evening, Ms. Michaels, how are you tonight? Hello, Chloe, I'm fine. How about you? I'm good. And who is this with you? She asked, a smile spreading across her face. This is Sophia. Sophia, meet Chloe. Hi, I stammered. Hi, Chloe responded, then turned to my mom. You were right. She looks stunning. Please, come in. Chloe opened the door wider, and we stepped into the front hallway. My mind was racing as I tried to process everything. Apparently, Chloe had known I'd be dressed as a girl, but I had only found out earlier that day. As I took off my coat, Chloe hung it on a nearby hook. It was then that I realized Chloe and I were dressed in nearly identical outfits. She was about my height, and we looked so similar that we could have been sisters, maybe even twins. Just then, Chloe's mom, Liz, entered the room. She was dressed in a sleek black dress and a long wig, styled as Morticia Addams from the Addams Family. She greeted my mom and complimented her on the 60s-era pen flight attendant outfit. My mom returned the compliment. Then, Liz and my mom turned their attention to Chloe and me. Liz looked me over in much the same way Chloe had, and as I looked at myself in the mirror again, I noticed a smile cross Liz's lips. I could immediately see the resemblance between her and Chloe. Turning to my mom, she said, "Well, I owe you $20, Carol. I knew you told me it would work, but from the moment you came up with the idea, I was sure it wouldn't." "Well, thanks, Liz. Part of it is just good genes, but I'll admit, I'm an artist, if I do say so myself," my mom replied, putting her arm around my shoulder. "I've always suspected the caterpillar I raised was hiding a butterfly. Liz, meet Sophia." Liz turned to me, smiling. "Well, hello there, Sophia. It's so nice to meet you. Quite a change from the young boy I used to see moping around the yard next door." Thanks, Ms. Gerald. "It's really nice of you to say," I said, trying to stay polite and go with the flow. Inside, my mind was racing. I paused for a moment to assess where I stood. I was still just a 16-year-old boy. I was standing in the front hallway of a neighbor's house, someone I barely knew. Chloe, the neighbor's daughter, was even more beautiful than I had imagined from seeing her from afar, and she was dressed in a very stylish outfit. And I? I was dressed as a convincing young woman, wearing nearly the same outfit as Chloe. Everyone was calling me Sophia. My identity felt like it had been erased. And I wasn't sure how to feel. Since my mom had started getting me ready earlier in the day, I had felt a mix of embarrassment, curiosity, and fear. But now, looking in the mirror, that had shifted to something I couldn't quite define at the time but later recognized as a sense of completeness. I felt right, I felt good. But now wasn't the time to focus on that. "Chloe, why don't you take Sophia into the dining room while Carol and I chat for a bit?" Liz suggested. "Okay, Mom," Chloe replied. "Come on, Sophia. I want to get to know you." She led me into their dining room. It was dimly lit by candles, with food and drinks spread across the table. Chloe gestured to a couple of chairs. "Go ahead and sit," she said. I walked over and sat down, remembering to smooth my skirt and keep my legs together as my mom had advised. Chloe came over and handed me a cup of soda, sitting beside me. I couldn't help but notice how much we looked alike. I took a sip of the soda, trying to stay calm, though an awkward silence stretched between us. Finally, Chloe spoke up. "So, you're pretty cute, you know." Thanks," I stammered. I don't usually look like this. I mean, I don't usually wear this kind of thing. I'm really a boy." "Relax, Sophia," Chloe laughed. "You don't need to be embarrassed. I think you look great as a girl. In fact, you look better as a girl than you do as a boy." I must have looked surprised, because she quickly added, "No, I don't mean that you're not good-looking as a guy, or that you're not masculine when you're a boy. But right now, if I didn't know, I wouldn't even guess who you really are. Your mom did an amazing job with you, Sophia. You don't mind if I call you Sophia, right? It just seems to fit better than Ree." "It's fine, Chloe," I said. "I'm starting to get used to it. I think. Do you really think I look good this way?" "Oh, Absolutely. Have you seen yourself in the mirror? She asked. When she saw me blush, she continued, Yep, you've seen yourself. And you liked it. You know you did. Yes, I replied quietly, looking down. Chloe reached out with one of her red manicured fingers and gently lifted my chin. Looking directly at me, she said, It's okay. I won't tell anyone if you don't want me to. And it's nice to finally meet a girl my age in the neighborhood. She smiled slyly. But I'm not really a girl, I said. You know I'm not. I'm just pretending to be one. Are you? She pulled a small mirror from her purse and held it up to me. Look in here and tell me what you see. I hesitated. I knew what I was feeling, but I was afraid to say it out loud to someone I had just met. But then, I just blurted it out. No, I said quietly, I'm not. Maybe I've been pretending to be a boy for 16 years. I don't know. I looked at Chloe for a moment, then made up my mind. Yes, I do know. I like this. I like looking this way. And I think you're a really beautiful girl, Chloe. Chloe smiled, then leaned forward and kissed me on the lips. It was the first time I had ever been kissed by a girl, and I was dressed as a girl. Part of me was sure this would end up as the basis for some therapist's case study someday, but mostly, I felt that same overwhelming sense of rightness I had felt earlier at home. Then, she pulled back slightly and tilted her head. Sorry, I smudged your lipstick, Sophia. Here, she said, handing me her mirror and reaching into my purse. She grabbed the lipstick, apologized again, and added, Hold still and watch in the mirror, okay? She carefully applied the lipstick, fixing the smudge from our kiss. Once done, she handed me the lipstick and took the mirror. Now, do mine, she said. I took the lipstick, and my hand trembled a bit. She gently steadied my wrist and guided my hand, and together, we touched up her lipstick. Thanks, Han, she said. Like I said, I think you're a very beautiful girl. Thank you, I replied, meaning it more than I would have an hour ago. So are you. I've thought so since you and your mom moved in next door. Why didn't you introduce yourself? I was afraid you wouldn't like me. I'm just a sci-fi nerd. A girl like you could hang out with anyone. So could a girl like you. I'd date you. Date me? Sophia or Ree? Either. But I think I like Sophia a little more. Then I realized our moms hadn't come into the room. In fact, I didn't even hear them in the other room. Chloe must have noticed my confusion. They went to an adult party down the block at the pub. We've got the place to ourselves, Sophia, Chloe said with a smile. Oh. Oh. I exclaimed. I had never been alone with a girl before. Is that okay? She asked. Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, why wouldn't it be? Then it hit me. You planned this, didn't you? You and our moms. A conspiracy. Why? I wanted to find a way to meet you. And I overheard your mom talking to mine about you. Don't worry, it wasn't anything bad or embarrassing. Your mom was just concerned about you, about how few friends you have and how you don't meet new people. Or girls. Well, this will help me meet girls, I said sarcastically, gesturing to my outfit. What girl's ever going to be attracted to a boy dressed like this? Well, this one does, replied Chloe, placing her hand gently on my fishnet stocking knee. And you don't just look good in a dress, you look better than me. I think you're a very attractive young lady, Sophia. And, well, I tend to like girls more than boys. When I realized Halloween was coming up, everything clicked. Your mom's always suspected this side of you, Sophia, and thought it might help you out a bit. I was a little selfish when I suggested the outfit, I admit. But it looks better on you than it did in that old picture I saw of your mom. I blushed, despite myself, and could feel a stirring beneath the silky skirt I was wearing. Well, thank you, but I had help, I said, trying to deflect the compliment. It's not just the clothes, hair, and makeup. I watched you walk across the yard and up the sidewalk to our house. You move pretty well in heels for a first-timer. And I saw how you took off your gloves and coat, the way you moved, the way you sat. I think there's more girl in you than you might want to admit. I think deep down, you've wanted to do this for a long time. There was a quiet pause between us. Chloe was right. I realized she was completely correct. Part of why I had resisted my mom's costume idea was that I was afraid someone might see just how comfortable I felt being feminine. Suddenly, a rush of emotions flooded through me, relief, happiness, and a calmness I hadn't expected. I'm not sure how long I spent telling Chloe everything I was feeling about myself and about her. We spoke for hours, like two old friends catching up after a long time apart. I decided right then that I didn't want Chloe to know me as anything but Sophia. I was quickly realizing this was who I was always meant to be. Our conversation felt like it had gone on for years, not just an evening. At one point, I glanced at the clock. It was almost 1 a.m. I realized, as happy as I was to be where I was and with who I was with, I was getting really tired. Chloe, I don't mean to be rude, but it's getting late, and I'm feeling a bit tired. Yeah, we've been talking for a while, haven't we? And I've really enjoyed it too. I stood up, instinctively smoothing my skirt as I did, which made me smile. Chloe caught it, too. Gotcha again, Sophia. So, what are you doing tomorrow? Or, later today, she asked. I'm not sure. I haven't really thought that far ahead. Okay. Can I walk you home? It's only next door, but I'd like that. Chloe stood as well, and we walked to the front hallway. She opened the closet, took out the coat I had worn earlier, and held it out for me to put on. Thanks, I said. She grabbed a jacket for herself, then opened the front door, and we stepped outside. The lawn was wet with dew, so we walked down her front walk to the sidewalk and headed toward my house. The sound of our heels clicking on the pavement felt louder than usual. When we reached my front porch, I paused by the door. Chloe, I'm really glad we met. I really enjoy your company. I'm glad I met you too, Sophia. Maybe I'll come over later today, and we can do something together, she said with a smile. I was a bit surprised. 1, she wanted to come over to see me? 2, she wanted to hang out with me while I was dressed as a girl? I was really starting to dive deep into this. Yes, I said a little too quickly, maybe even a bit too loudly. Why don't you come over after lunch? It's a date, Vicky, Chloe replied, grinning. She leaned in and kissed me on the lips. Then she pulled back, paused for a moment, and said, You have beautiful blue eyes. See you later. With that, she turned and walked back to her house. As I watched her walk away, my thoughts were a whirlwind. I was struck by her beauty, and at the same time, I wondered if my walk was as graceful as hers. I reached into my purse, grabbed my house key, and went inside. The house was mostly dark, but the hallway light and kitchen light were on. I took off my coat and hung it in the closet, then decided to grab a quick glass of milk before heading to bed. As I turned, I caught sight of myself in the full-length mirror again, and I had to stop and just look for a moment. Here I was, looking like the teenage girl I'd always felt was hidden beneath my unremarkable male form. I don't mean to brag, but I looked really good to myself, better than I ever had as Ree. I didn't even want to think of that name right now. I was Sophia. And it felt right. Suddenly, the door opened, and my mom walked in. She had removed her Morticia wig, revealing her natural auburn hair, but was still in her costume. Hi there, she said, noticing me looking at myself. Admiring yourself, huh? Blushing, I replied, Yeah, I guess I am, Mom. No need to be embarrassed. You make a really good-looking young lady. In fact, you almost look better as a girl than you. She stopped suddenly and frowned. It's okay, Mom. I was actually thinking the same thing. Oh. I think we should talk, son. Call me Vicky, Mom. I was just about to go get some milk. Good idea, let's go, she said, joining me as we headed toward the kitchen. We walked to the kitchen, with me leading the way. I grabbed a carton of milk from the fridge, set it on the table, and went to get a couple of glasses from the cupboard. When I turned from the cupboard, I noticed my mom had stopped at the kitchen door and was watching me. Are you okay? I asked. Yeah, just watching. Let's sit down and talk for a bit, okay? Okay, I replied, walking over to the table with the glasses. I placed them on the table, pulled out a chair, and sat down, smoothing my skirt beneath me as I did. Where did you learn that? She asked. What? I replied, confused. Smoothing your skirt as you sit. It's a very feminine gesture, you know. Very ladylike. I blushed slightly. I don't know, it just feels like the right thing to do. I've probably seen you and other women do it and just picked it up. Watching you tonight, it seems like you've picked up a lot of feminine behaviors for a 17-year-old boy. Why do you think that is? I paused, looking down at my hands. I spent a moment just examining my thin wrists, adorned with the lace cuffs of my blouse, and the red nails on my fingers. I thought about the evening with Chloe, the hours spent transforming into the girl I had seen in the mirror, and all the years of silent frustration. Finally, I came to a decision. I raised my head and looked my mom in the eye. I leaned back in my chair, crossed my legs, and placed my hands in my lap. Mom, I have a male body, but I've always felt like I should have been born a girl. I've felt that way for as long as I can remember, even before I understood what it was or how to explain it. That's why I snuck into your closet and tried on your things all those times. How did you know? My mom leaned back in her seat. Well, it's just the two of us here. If I didn't move my white polka dot sundress and white sandals, it was pretty easy to figure out, don't you think? She smirked a little. Besides, I've been watching you your whole life. You've never really been close to your male friends, but you always gravitate toward the girls at any gathering. So, how was your evening? It was great. Chloe and I really hit it off. She likes me, well, this version of me. And do you like her? I really do. Are you attracted to her? Yes, I blushed. She's very pretty, smart, and funny. We talked a lot tonight. I see. Are you attracted to boys at all? Not judging, just asking. No, Mom. Just girls. Is that weird, considering? I gestured at myself and the way I was dressed. No, there are plenty of people in the world in similar situations. It's not the mainstream, but there's nothing wrong with how you feel or who you're attracted to. Never forget that, no matter what, okay? Okay, Mom. Thanks. So, now what? Good question. You tell me, she said, resting her chin on her hand and leaning forward. What do you want? I want to keep being me. Sophia, I mean. I've never felt as good as I have today, Mom. I mean that. I was nervous when you first came to me, but at the same time, I was really happy and excited. I could tell, she smiled. Well, we'll need to talk more about this, but we've got the rest of the weekend before Monday rolls around. We need to get you cleaned up and to bed, young lady. She paused and looked down before glancing back up. Would you prefer I refer to you in the feminine now? I would, Mom. Thank you. Okay, then. Let's go upstairs and get you settled in for bed. Oh, Mom. There's one thing. Chloe is coming over later today to visit, and I think she expects to see Sophia when she gets here. Will you help me? Is that okay? Mom got up and came over to me. I stood up as well, and she gave me a warm hug. Of course, it's okay. And of course I'll help you. You've got a date, and us girls have to stick together, right? Right. Thanks, Mom. Of course, Sophia. Now, let's head upstairs. Go to the bathroom, I'll be there in a minute, okay? Okay. I headed upstairs, enjoying the sound of my high heels on the hardwood stairs. I went into the bathroom and sat on the closed toilet lid. I reached down to undo the straps on my shoes and slipped them off. For a moment, I admired how my red-painted toenails looked on my stocking-clad feet. Just then, Mom came in holding a robe and a lacy nightgown. Okay, young lady, out of the outfit. Let's get you cleaned up for bed, she said. I stood up and began unbuttoning my blouse. Soon, I was left in just my bra and panties, and Mom handed me the nightgown, which I slipped over my head. She guided me to the sink, and we went through a whole routine with various wipes, cleansers, and lotions. When I looked into the mirror, all the makeup was gone, but I no longer saw a 17-year-old boy staring back at me. My hair was still styled and curled, and my skin had a soft glow like it never had before. Beneath my gently arched brows, my lashes still looked long and delicate. Here, put this on, Mom said, handing me the robe. Follow me to my room for a bit, okay? I followed her into her room. She went straight to her closet, rifling through clothes and muttering to herself. No, maybe, no, yes, she said, pulling items from the closet. Finally, she turned around and handed me a set of clothes. Here, these are for later today, she said. Go to bed now, and we'll talk some more over a late breakfast. I need to clean up, get out of this dress, and take off my girdle before I pass out. Don't laugh, girl, you'll know what I mean soon enough. Off to bed now, she finished, planting a quick kiss on my cheek. I went to my room and set down the bundle of clothes Mom had handed me, a black knit V-neck sweater, a black and red tartan skirt, black stockings, and a pair of heeled boots. Apparently, this was my outfit for later in the day. I placed the clothes on a chair and moved to my bed. After slipping out of the robe, I climbed under the covers and turned off the light. I lay there, my mind racing over the events of the past few hours, trying to process it all. I could feel the cool silkiness of the nightgown against my legs and the soft sheets around me. I wasn't entirely sure where I was headed or how I'd get there, but I felt like I was at least heading in the right direction. Eventually, I fell asleep, my thoughts on Chloe. Thanks for watching. If you liked this story, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Also, consider becoming a member for exclusive stories and early access.